I seem to have just kind of drifted into it by default. I think it's your fault, actually, Vera.
I accept. I accept.
It really affected me right from the start to see these three women having the courage to make a stand, despite the fact that they were in a very vulnerable position with their families and particularly Svetlana with her husband, and Veronika with the young children and her husband as well, and then of course Maria ending up in prison, having had the guts to tear her passport up. I mean, wow. And then the women being at the forefront of the protest, but in a really Belarusian way. Which, I mean, I'm Scottish. I'd be like the suffragettes. I'd be chained to railings and stuff. But just to be so dignified and go out there peacefully as a complete opposite to these men in black with their crazed eyes and all of that, I really took to it, which is why we had that wonderful day. I'm very interested in the history of the suffragettes who campaigned in the early parts of the 20th century for the right for women to have the vote, and a lot of them were taken to prison, they were tortured, they were force-fed, they used to attack the women by threatening children. So there are distinct parallels, and even the photographs I started to notice of Belarusian women in white or red and white being picked up and dragged off by these men in black. And I could see almost the parallel photographs in, say, 1910 outside Downing Street. But it's, at least those in 1910 had their, the police showed their faces. But these men in balaclavas, it was, oh dear. And I've always been someone that I feel like I can't just sit passively and watch TV news stuff. I have to feel I'm doing something. So I felt the urge to do this, and I was approached about, can we have a women's march as part of a global thing that was going on? And it popped into my head this grand plan of theming it on the suffragettes, and I researched a route that the suffragettes used to take themselves throughout Westminster, and then I went to the other degree of enthusiasm by putting together a suffragette uniform, and I had the hat, the sash. Actually, I've got the sash here somewhere. Yeah, in the suffragette colours. This was Votes for Women, and concentrated on trying to link what they're trying to achieve with those women in the past. And I think it was really effective. And I think that through that, I then thought, this is something I really want to get more involved in. And then the Belarus Women's Foundation came about, and I started joining chats. And then I was asked if I wanted to be part of the board. And it's quite difficult at times, because I realize I have these control issues myself. I think, oh, well, you can't do that. It's just going to be ridiculous. But actually, a lot of reflection has made me kind of stand back and realize that if I really am serious about Belarusians having their own voice, then I have to back off. And that can and should include allowing people to make their own mistakes, because that is where learning and development happens.
Scary prospect, because Belarus have made so many mistakes we can't allow anymore. Sometimes.
Yeah, I'm not talking about anything cataclysmic. Obviously, if there was something that was really going to go boom, I would say something. But getting worried about the use of the English language, and whether we call women girls, because in this country, the women's movement in particular would not respond well to being called girls, and all these kind of things. But it feels like a process of learning together, and I'm incredibly proud of being part of it, because being the only foreigner on this. It's an incredible honor, and for me it feels like I've gone round in a cycle because for a while my involvement with Belarus was not positive at all when my colleagues were killed in Belarus, and I became extremely ill with trauma, and then there was a lot of madness with the Belarusian embassy in London, and I was living on the streets and all kinds of things. So for me, it's just personally, it's incredibly important that I've returned to the world that I really cared about, but I'm able to do so in a way that is not making me ill and bringing back all the time the traumas that I went through. Although it is difficult, I've translated testimonies from young women who have been tortured and worse in prison. And it does bring up some of the things that happened for me. But because it's going to some positive end, it's actually something I can handle. Doing nothing, I couldn't handle. Sitting back and watching all this unfold without doing at least something to play a tiny part, it would be intolerable. So I'm very, very, very proud of the women, all of them, you yourself included, because I'm not from Belarus. There's a sense that I can switch off to some extent, but you people, you women in particular, who have family in Belarus, who have friends in Belarus, but you're here in this country, that must be intolerably anxiety provoking. So
it is difficult. It is difficult, but I also made a decision for myself that I will be fighting, that I will not stop. Because you cannot stop right now. It's impossible. And once people stop and they sort of give in and they say, all right, no, Lukashenko will not stop, Putin will not stop. They will go and march on humanity till they destroy as much as possible. And I'm trying to work out how to fight back. But I think everybody just have to stand up to it and just fight back. We just have to fight back.
Wired as activists, whether we consider ourselves activists or not. For us, it's a no-brainer. People like you, but a lot of people, and I've discovered this to my cost throughout my life, that people very often are too afraid, and they are quite happy to support, but from behind. They say, well, I'm behind you. They mean actually quite far away behind you. I've accepted this, but as long as, but I think this has created activists and people that didn't know they were activists. It's just like the three women never thought they were politicians, but now
absolutely,
and people like yourself, you're a creative, you're an actress and so on, and you're bringing that creative side to the amazing protests and whatnot, and just you have a really important role, because people might be feeling tired and what's the point, and then you arrive with all your colorful hats and dressing up like I'm dressed up with Christmas decorations around my neck, and then you've swept the steps of the Belarus embassy in London with a big broom, and that is really important for morale, that we keep on going, and it doesn't start to feel like a drudge. Oh, I have to go out again. I have to iron my flag. Here we go.
Just need to find the strength to keep going. But hopefully we will continue. And I think we must continue. I just have to say we must do something. We can't stop now.
Place, Vera. We will do it. It's just a question of how long it's going to take.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Alison, and thank you for your talk, and hope we will meet again and you will tell some more about your experiences in Belarus, and I know not all of them were happy.
I do believe.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for asking me, Vera.